Hey guys, hello and welcome to V8 DXB. My name is Gaurav. Behind me is the car that we're reviewing, which is the 2024 Geely Monjaro. Now Geely as a brand has been something which is known to be a Chinese car, and they've been known for their quality. When you think of a Chinese car, the questions that come to you is the quality going to be good? Are the features going to be reliable? Is the car itself going to be reliable or not? What if I told you Geely is the same company that owns Volvo and Lotus, and the engine and specs on this car is co-developed with Volvo? This is the 2025 Geely Monjaro. It's powered by a 2-liter turbocharged engine that pushes out 235 horsepower, and it's packed with features. This guy comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission and a very intelligent 4-wheel drive system. There's no way you can take this dune bashing, but it has intelligent modes that can take you a decent amount of soft roading as well. I'm very impressed by the looks that this car has to offer. You've got full 4 DRLs on the front, a lot of chrome treatment up in the front, which really gives this car a very aggressive look. And you can see the slanted grills along with the Geely logo that is also hiding a lot of sensors behind it as well. Ground clearance is fairly decent. That gets you a decent amount of MPV stuff that you want to do around. The side profile is also something which is very good. You've got diamond cut rims and they look really the part on this particular car. Side profile coming on over here, you've got chrome garnish, which gives it a very nice and upmarket feel. And that's what really differentiates the top and the center that this car has to offer. You've got rough plastics over here to make sure that if you do something a little bit of an off-road, it's fine. Chrome garnish on that side. You also get a very shark fin antenna on the top and a rear diffuser as well. My favorite part of the car though has to be the back of the car, which is a proud Geely branding on the back and the Monjaro. And like the newer Porsche 911s or the newer Cayennes, this actually gets the single slat LED taillight at the back. From a design perspective, it looks very upmarket and classy, and that's one of the things that this car really excels at, which is the design of it. Now, the first technological feature on this car is the smart key. The keys are in my pocket, I'm not holding on to anything, and as I approach towards the car, when I get really close to it, it's going to automatically unlock it for me. The mirrors open up, you don't even have to lock and unlock this car. How's it to drive? What are the features that you get on this car? There's a lot of things to talk about, especially on the interior, the magic that happens there. So let's go into the interior and show you all the cool stuff that this car is capable of, including autonomous parking. Now the interior is where a lot of magic happens, and a lot of tech is where the interior really sits. As you can see, as I'm coming in, the seats are going on the front automatically. You've got a huge panoramic sunroof up in the front. You've got an Alcantara-like finish on the top half of the car. You've got 3 screens. You've got one for the driver, you've got one for the center screen, and then you have a dedicated screen for the passenger as well. Beautiful armrest over here, and I'm quite surprised at the quality of materials and leather over here as well. It feels very well built. There's no snagging, there's nothing that's loose. It feels really well built. You have a Bose sound stereo system, and you also get the interior ambient lighting system. And I want to show you something very close over here as well. If you look at the blower vent design, it's this really cool, sleek design that's coming over here. And not only do you have the screen to change all your temperatures, but you actually have physical buttons which change the temperature and fan speed as well. So this car is really well thought in terms of comfort as well. You've got a dual-tone steering wheel over here, which is electronically adjusted, and a nice start-stop system, wireless charger, drive mode, a slightly tricky transmission lever over here, and you also have space over here to keep your stuff. And look at these seats, it's so well quilted. Let's jump on the back and show you what the back looks like, and let's take it for a spin. Now the back is where the fun starts on this car, because someone's calling me. Sorry about that. Now the back seat is where you have a lot of comfort in this car. Now this is the seat which is in a normal driving position, and look at the amount of legroom that I have, and very good under thigh support, a decent amount of head space. That's crazy space up and over here. And you also get a fully digital module over here to control your air, so temperatures and all the modes that you want. 2 vents at the back over here. It really is a very spacious car to be sitting at the back. And I like the whole ambience that's on the front. It feels very spacious and roomy at the back. Let me show you the trunk. You get a power tail trunk at the back, which can be operated by the inside or using your key. And it's pretty spacious at the back over here, considering there's lots of storage under the car as well, and it's all well quilted. It does not have the electronic up and down function because it doesn't have air suspension, but in terms of space and everything else, it's a pretty usable size space. But if you're like me and if you're more of a driver's car, and if you want to see what this car is really to drive, and that's the most exciting part that I want to talk to you about. So let's jump inside, take it for a drive, and talk about our driving impressions and the things which I find really cool on this car. Now, one of the coolest or the best safety features that this car has to offer is the automatic parking system. Now, the automatic parking system is generations advanced and a lot of things have been changed. The first generation of the autonomous parking system, you had to move the handles would move on its own. You have to change the gear and the accelerator on the brake. On this one, you don't even have to touch anything on the car, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you. On the front right, I can see a parking space that's empty, so I'm going to go back to the main menu, and there's an option called as APA. I click on the APA option and it's going to start sensing it. It says please drive forward. This is the time when it's sensing which parking spot it needs to drive and get to. So now it's going to sense the parking side, which is going to be on the right. I think it should sense that one. So it sensed it, and you can see on the screen it shows P, which means that is where it's ready to park. So I click on that, hands off, and my legs are off as well. And the most amazing thing about this car is it actually shifts the transmission for you, so you don't even have to change the transmission. It's so precise, it's shocking. And look, no hands, no legs, and it's exactly telling you how much of the process is left. And it's gonna now go back. It's doing all on its own. It's changing gears on its own, it's moving the steering wheel on its own, it's checking the distance on its own, and it just works. It's no longer those gimmicky things that does not work in real world. This actually works. And you can see once the error starts coming in that it's too close to the car, it's going to stop itself, it's going to go out there, it's going to come back in. I'm not even touching anything, I'm not even changing the gears. And that's some of the tech features which just works. It's not one of those things which are a gimmick and something which you really can't use in your real life. This actually works, and it works so well that it parks perfectly in the center. And look at that, your parking's done. Now if you're someone like me, it's gonna make it completely straight as well. Wow, it wasn't happy with that parking because it was a little at an angle. It's gonna try to park it straight. So I mean, with this car you don't have to worry about your parking skills. It's gonna park by itself. And what it also has a great feature is once it's done parking, and if you want to exit out, let's see what it does. There's another cool feature where if you want to get out from the parking as well, it will do that for you. So you don't have to even bother taking the car out from its parking spot. So now it's done. It says successful parking. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell it to take me out from this parking spot. So it says vertical parking out. I click on parking out. It scans the car. So if there's any car that's coming from there, it will stop. If there's any car that's coming from there, it will stop. Like, I don't even have to look left and right. It's taken me out from the parking spot. It's going to make a right turn and align me exactly where I was, where it's just easier for me to get the car out. I mean, this is just 21st century technology which is being used in real world. And I'm so happy to see this in a car at this price point, and it works so damn well. I'm really amazed at how this is doing all of that stuff. Look, that's just crazy. The amount of convenience this car is going to offer you is incredible. Look at that. Everything is done. It's parked. You ready to go? Now you do make use of both the screens that you have over here. You can see you've got a very nice digital screen up on the here, and it is very interesting because it tells you everything that the car is doing outside in terms of traffic around. And some of the really cool features which I like and I really appreciate on this car is if you look at the camera system over here, this is a 540-degree camera system. Not only does it show you what's happening around the car, but it also shows you what's exactly below the car. This is some of the cool stuff which you don't see in cars at this price segment. For example, I'm just going to go a little ahead and show you what I mean by that. Now, if you see there's an arrow that's right below the car. You see the front right arrow? You can see it over here as well. Now watch, as I'm going about it, the car really shows me what's underneath me as well. And it's so seamless. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you see on the newer Range Rovers and Defenders and stuff like that. And now it's on these cars as well. And like I said, maneuverability, like look at the camera angle there. You can exactly see where the car is, where you're headed, and the angles as well, which is really interesting. And of course, you have a lot of features over and above, like assistant driving and feature. For example, if the car is parked near a crowded space and if there's someone in the zone of where the door is supposed to be opening, it tells you be cautious when opening the door. And lots of other cool, very tech features that this car has, and that really makes this something which is a very interesting car to drive. You also get heads-up display with a lot of information and tactile features up there as well. So that really gives it a very cool feature. But overall, what I really like is the drivability of this car. It's a very easy car to drive, and it's a very easy car to get used to. It's one of those cars that actually spoils you with the amount of features and applications and all the stuff that this car has to offer. And it's not something which makes it overly complicated. All the systems are very easy to use. Seat adjustments, sunroof, all of that stuff is very, very easy to use. The only complaint that I have with the HVAC control system is to turn on your heated and cooled seats. Your cooled seats, you don't have heated seats. There's no physical button at yours and on any other car. So to turn on your ventilated seats, you've got to go on the temperature settings, which is over here. You see, it's a little bit distracting when you're trying to do that. You go down to the seat here and then you press this and then the heat comes on. But then that's with a lot of modern cars as well. Overall, the touch sensitivity of this, as you can see, is pretty nice. It's very quick. And you've got lane departure, lane keep assist, forward collision safety warning, you have blind spot, all of that stuff, door open warning. Loads of stuff that is over here, and it really is very well usable. Another cool thing which I also really like is the screen is very, very bright, and it's very well lit even when you're out in the sun like that. Now, you do get a 2-liter turbocharged engine that's producing 235 horsepower. So it doesn't sound a lot on paper, but for the weight that this car has to offer, it does seem to be enough to pushing it through the corners. You have a turbocharged engine, so you have a lot of grout that's bringing in more power on the car as you drive along. But what I really like is the maneuverability that this car has to offer. And with the advanced 540 degree camera feature that this car has to offer, you'll never be in a tight spot to figure out exactly where you are stuck or whether you have the space to make it or not. The interiors is also very quiet, so there's not a lot of road noise. There's considerable amount of suspension movement as well. So when you're going over rough terrains and all of that stuff, there is some movement, but it's not as bad as a car that would be this light would perform. Overall visibility as well stays very good. The rear passengers are very, very comfortable, and you've got a very interesting gauge that's on the front that changes based on depending on how you're driving and what your perspectives are on drive as well. Controls are very easy to use, and with a lot of autonomous driving that the car does, you have your lane keep assist, you have your dynamic cruise control, you have all of these features which really make driving this car a much easier process than you would imagine. Now, this car is aimed also for a lot of new drivers, first-time car buyers who are looking at cars like these. And I feel it just fits the bill so perfectly. It's such an easily maneuverable car. It's great on city and it does really well on the highway. For example, I'm making a 3-point U-turn over here, and the turning radius is surprisingly small for this car. And I can just go all around, bring the steering back in, and I'm straight. The heads-up display as well is very crisp, very concise, and very clean to read. So driving this car is something which a lot of people are truly going to enjoy, and given the leather seats and the ventilated seats and all of that stuff that you get on the car as well, it is a pretty luxurious experience. The one thing which I do sort of have noticed reviewing this car for the past couple of days, unfortunately it has a very bad road presence, which means people are not going to give you way, people are not going to let you cut in front of them. You're just on the lowest part of the food chain when it comes to this car, which unfortunately, of the perception of Chinese cars, still pretty much stays in the market. So that's something which you sort of need to be prepared. I daily drive a Patrol, and the presence that car commands is completely different from what this car does. But having said that, it is a very nifty and a nice car to be driven around and also to drive around. Steering is very light. Like I said, maneuverability on this car is really, really good. So driving this car is quite a pleasure. It's not for the performance enthusiast. It's a 2-liter turbo, but it gets the job done. There you have it, guys. That's the full review of the 2024 Geely Monjaro. For more such car reviews, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next one.